But you will cheat. You will cheat.
Hey, look, hey, you said I'm cheating for no reason.
Nice composure, good. Two underneath when he leans on you. Don't give him time. That's it.
Terence Crawford's visit to Anthony Joshua's training camp ahead of the Jake Paul fight has sparked major buzz in the boxing world. Crawford closely observed Joshua's sessions, highlighting how seriously Joshua is preparing. Bringing in a pound-for-pound great shows Joshua's commitment to elite standards, adding intensity, focus, and high-level insight as fight night draws closer.
Good. Good. Nice composure, good. Two underneath when he leans on you. Don't give him time.
Anthony Joshua constantly seeks new experiences and fresh guidance from every fighter he encounters, absorbing different styles and perspectives. He enjoys learning from diverse boxing minds and applies each lesson to refine his own approach. This mindset helps him evolve, becoming stronger, smarter, and more complete with every training camp.
That's saying a happy fighter is a good fighter. And each individual, uses different things and finds out different ways to keep them occupied and keep them happy. And for me, it was just like...
Anthony Joshua pushes his limits through brutal training sessions built to strengthen his body and sharpen his reflexes. He relies on deep ice baths to reduce inflammation and speed up recovery, allowing him to return stronger each day. Once recovered, he attacks demanding drills that test his power, speed, and mental focus, proving his complete commitment to elite-level preparation. Combat sports analyst Wade Plemons offers a clear and uncompromising view on how Anthony Joshua should approach his fight with Jake Paul. According to Wade, this is not a matchup where Joshua should take his time, feel out the rounds, or aim to entertain the crowd. He stresses that Joshua must act with purpose and urgency, closing the show quickly rather than allowing the fight to drag on unnecessarily. Wade explains that a heavyweight with Joshua's resumed achievements and reputation cannot afford to give Jake Paul extra time in the ring. Prolonging the contest, he argues, would only invite unwanted questions, fuel criticism, and potentially damage Joshua's image. Instead, Wade believes an early finish is essential to protecting Joshua's standing in the sport. With massive attention on this fight, from hardcore boxing fans to followers of influencer boxing, Wade insists Joshua must set the tone from the opening bell. He holds clear advantages in size, experience, and power, and Wade concludes that the smartest, cleanest solution is a decisive and quick stoppage.
Which I think could be a little bit of a feeling out first round for AJ too. Then Jake wins to me. And I know that sounds like, but it's true, bro. AJ shouldn't be going rounds with Jake. He just shouldn't. That's a two-time world champion. You know what I'm saying?
Olympic gold medalist,
medalist, two-time world champion. You shouldn't be going rounds with Jake. Jake hasn't fought anybody I don't know where they currently rank Tommy Fury, but he hasn't fought anybody in the top 50 in any weight division he's participated in. So if that guy's going 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds with you, cooked. But I think if you're putting money on it, I would say AJ round 3 maybe.
Yeah, I'd say
2 or 3. Everybody's kind of jumping on the AJ round 2, and I'm like, Jake's tough. Could he use his feet for a little bit longer than people imagine? Is it going to be tougher for AJ to land on him early, maybe? But I think at a certain point, the cat corrals the mouse a little bit. But we'll see, dude. Who knows? Jake's got some good guys in camp. He brought in Lawrence Okoli, big Lawrence Okoli now too. You see him?
I remember being in Dubai 3 years ago. Do you remember 3 years ago when we were? Commentated, for JT vs Merva. And funny enough, from that fight week, Jake Paul and I hung out and went shooting with AJ. Yeah. I think laser tag of AJ.
Yeah.
3 years ago on the same week.
Wild. That entire week now is coming to full fruition. It was here in Dubai. It was Jake on commentary. First time I had met Jake, talking shit to Tommy Fury. Lawrence Okoli was on commentary with me, and I was like, how are you a cruiserweight? Because at that time, he was still a cruiserweight, and I was like, how the fuck are you a cruiserweight? You're massive. And sure enough, now he's 265-pound heavyweight. He's way too big, by the way. But, he's got Lawrence in camp. He's got Jared Anderson in camp. What's supposed to have been our...
Intro 5. Anthony Joshua's training camp for the Jake Paul fight marks a clear shift from his usual preparation style. Known for structured routines and controlled planning as a former unified heavyweight champion, Joshua has embraced a faster, more intense approach. The pace is sharper, the work more demanding, and the adjustments show he is not underestimating Jake Paul at all. Anthony Joshua, revealing his weight at around 110 kilograms, or roughly 243 pounds, quickly became a major point of discussion. Throughout most of his career, Joshua rarely needed drastic weight changes, usually competing within a range that suited his power-based style. This time, however, it became clear he had dropped close to 20 pounds in a relatively short period, raising eyebrows among analysts and fans alike. Cutting that much weight at this stage of his career is a complicated challenge. Now in his mid-30s, Joshua's body does not respond the same way it once did. Sharp weight loss can impact strength, recovery, hydration, and overall performance, making it a risky adjustment. Still, the move underlines just how seriously Joshua is taking the Jake Paul fight. It shows a willingness to adapt rather than rely solely on past success. While shedding weight can improve his speed, movement, and stamina, it also risks reducing the raw power and physical dominance that define his rise to the top of the heavyweight division. Finding the right balance is critical, especially against a lighter, energetic opponent. Joshua appears to be aiming for that middle ground. Lighter for mobility, yet heavy enough to preserve the strength that makes him a dangerous presence in the ring.
Still living life as normal. You're not restricting yourself that much. You know, if you're eating 2 pieces of chicken, maybe you just eat a piece. You see what I mean? You're not going to the extreme to try and actually dehydrate yourself or anything like that. It's very different than having to actually hit a specific weight, all right? And to do that in a relatively short space of time, because this fight's, not that long has it been announced, and it's not that long until the fight's only 2 weeks away. Eddie Hearn was talking about AJ weighing 265 a couple of days ago, so you're thinking, okay, 20 pounds in 3 weeks, that's not ideal for someone who, again, is in their mid to late 30s, a year in activity, and crucially has never had to hit a specific weight throughout the course of his career. Never had to do it. All right, so it did have me kind of worrying a little bit and thinking, is this a miscalculation, accepting that? Because in terms of him fighting Jake Paul, he's going to win. I mean, there's no ifs, but he's going to win this fight. It's pretty much a given, all right? But it did have me wondering. Now, AJ, as I said, he took to his social media accounts to show that he's currently weighing 110.6 kg, which is around about 243 US pounds. So that's well under the weight limit. So a lot of people are saying, slam dunk, it's done. Well, I got a few questions on that, because you do have to ask these questions. You're talking about Anthony Joshua, who over the course of the last, 3 years has been solid in the 250s. Hasn't weighed sub 240 or sub 250 since he fought Usyk 3 years ago. And bear in mind, he would have went into camp fully intending to be mobile, speed. He would have spent 3, maybe 4 months working on, what's an ideal weight for that, working on this, that, and the other. So it's not like, a crash diet for the Usyk fight or anything like that. And AJ is someone who loves the resistance training. That seems to be the main thing that he does. And outside of camp, he probably would have thought he was fighting Cassius Chaney, which is the name that...
Carl Froch, the former super middleweight world champion known for his blunt and direct opinions, has explained why the Jake Paul fight could actually make sense for Anthony Joshua. Froch believes Joshua is approaching the later stage of his career, having already accomplished almost everything a heavyweight can achieve. His resume includes multiple world titles, massive stadium events, and some of the biggest pay-per-view fights in modern boxing. According to Froch, there are very few truly meaningful bouts left for Joshua that fans have not already seen or discussed. From Froch's perspective, accepting a fight with Jake Paul is not a poor career decision. Instead, he views it as Joshua securing an enormous payday while still competing in a bout that draws global attention and mainstream interest. Froch also points out that a potential clash with Tyson Fury could still happen afterward, and if it does, it would remain one of the biggest fights in boxing history. Beyond that, Froch feels Joshua may not have much left to prove or chase inside the sport. He does not criticize Joshua's choice, instead framing it as a smart financial move made at the right moment. With a legendary resume already secured, Froch suggests this fight is more about business and entertainment than legacy.
And for me, he's found his limit now, found his level, So now he needs to look at his health and look at what he's got after boxing. And if he can make 50 mil, whatever he's making, to fight fucking in the clown world against the clown shark, you know what I mean? Then take the money, man. Yeah. Take it and go and live your life. I can't see AJ fighting for a world title. I don't know who he fights and who he would be and how we would get that desire back to become a world champion. But Eddie Hearn's got to sell it and try and say AJ is going to be world champ again. 3-time world champ, but I'm not buying in that bullshit. I think AJ's had a great career. He's done massive things for professional boxing, and now he's at the end of his career and he's cashing out. And who can blame him? I'd do exactly the same at the end of my career. I'd fight fucking Jake Paul for mega money and then drop the mic and then go home. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not going to knock him for doing it.
As much as you say that his career is maybe done after this, he has obviously made the jump, left Ben Davidson, gone to Usyk. Do you think that could maybe reignite a flame in AJ? Maybe change something that you might not believe is there at the moment?
No, it's too old. Too old. I've been 36, 37 years old, but I've never had 150 million quid in the bank. Do you know what I mean? And I think the combination of his age, the fact that he's been flattened a couple of times, and now he's making mega money. Why is he going to try and become world champion again? He's got to train for 10 weeks and spar really hard sparring. And then he's got to get in the ring and fight out with 10-ounce gloves against somebody like Dubois, or he's not going to fight Usyk again. Maybe he sticks around and fights Tyson Fury, because that's another commercial mega fight, which is actually fighting somebody who's on the same level.
Johnny Nelson, the former cruiserweight world champion and respected Sky Sports analyst, offers a very different perspective on this matchup. Rather than focusing on what Anthony Joshua must do, Nelson highlights a potential danger facing Jake Paul if the fight turns brutal. He voices genuine concern that Jake could suffer severe consequences if he absorbs clean shots from a fighter with Joshua's size, strength, and power. While acknowledging that Jake Paul has clearly improved since entering boxing, Nelson stresses that facing a former heavyweight champion is an entirely different challenge. Heavyweight power, he explains, is unlike anything Jake has previously encountered. Nelson warns that one bad moment in this fight could have serious implications for Jake's health and long-term career.
For AJ, I'm stuck in between, because nobody on this green earth would actually turn down 50, 60 million to fight Jake Paul. And people that don't like this will probably watch it because they want to see Jake Paul getting knocked out. So what does it say about AJ and what does it say about Jake Paul? I think I was thinking upside down. For AJ, I thought, Mama's cashing out. He's cashing out because he's going down this minute line. But I thought, in reality, is he? Realistically, he's thinking, you know what, this big mouth YouTuber stroke boxer has the cheek to call me out. I'd be pissed off at that, if I'm honest with you. I'd be upset if I was AJ, thinking, that's disrespect, man. You think you can deal with me? But he didn't. AJ was jovial and he commended Jake Paul's business acumen, saying, we've sat down, the deal's been done. But still, it just leaves an odd taste in your mouth. So as long as AJ gets the job done, and I mean gets the job done, shows his world-class pedigree, and wipes this boy out, then everybody's happy. But how does it enhance his career? The only way it enhances his career is financially. That's it. No other way. There's no props from beating Jake Paul, apart from saying, thank God you shut him up. For Jake Paul now, I got to give this boy props, because he now has our attention and the whole world is talking about Jake Paul.
I want to say a big thanks to our sponsors, Bet Goodwin, for supporting That Boxing Show. Now, if you're interested in having a little flutter, or as I call it after my dad, Benji's Bets, Bet Goodwin's the place to be. Check out Bet Goodwin using the QR code on the screen.
I'm probably 90% thinking the fight's going to happen. But I'm struggling. I'm thinking, this boy can't be so stupid. But then you hear a whisper. You hear a whisper that Jake Paul himself might be cashing out, because the big purses that he's pulling, fighting these has-beens or ex-fighters, they're dropping slowly but surely. So maybe, just maybe, this might be his last fight, getting in there with Anthony Joshua and getting knocked out. But there's always that conspiracy theory. Are there some contract agreements that can and cannot be done, which will never see the light of day, that we don't know about? Well, if you're an ex-fighter, and if you like the fight game, you'll see fake. You'll know fake when you see it. So if there's any of that fakery going on with this, pulling a shot, taking it easy, giving man a bit.
Jared Anderson, one of America's rising heavyweight talents known for his explosive power and relentless pace, plays a key role in Anthony Joshua's preparation. Young, aggressive, and fast, Anderson forces Joshua to stay sharp and alert throughout every sparring session. Working with pressure fighter helps Joshua improve his reactions and sharpen his defensive instincts. Anderson exposes weaknesses quickly, punishing slow responses and highlighting mistakes in real time. This high-intensity work better prepares Joshua for any unexpected challenges Jake Paul may bring. Even against a smaller opponent, training with someone like Anderson builds timing, reflexes, and confidence that carry directly into fight night.
Paul's being dwarfed by these way bigger heavyweights like Jared Anderson, Frank Sanchez, and Lawrence Okolie. Okolie is like 6'4.5", 6'5", and these guys are like 6'3", 6'4", probably. So now Jake Paul is the one that's smaller. So first of all, I will give credit to Jake Paul. Clearly, he's a person who is taking his career seriously. These are quality sparring. I mean, a real boxer, because people say he's not a real boxer, but a real boxer would be using the same guys in their sparring camp. In fact, I just told you Joshua used Lawrence Okolie. I don't know if he sparred with Anderson or Frank Sanchez, but these are all regular ranked heavyweights. So credit to Jake Paul for that. And I mean, he's going to need it. Joshua is a different breed to, like, you know, a Mike Perry when it comes to boxing. Different frame, different size. In case you didn't believe me, right? Jake Paul, this is what MVP Promotions posted. So Jake Paul top sparring, right? Heavyweights. And here's some pictures of Joshua with Lawrence Okolie. And again, Joshua, a big dude, but you see Lawrence Okolie, and he probably was cruiserweight back then. I mean, I don't know exactly when this picture was taken, but he's only like an inch shorter than Anthony Joshua. And now, as he's moved up to the full heavyweight, he has filled out more. You see, he looks even bigger than when he was a cruiserweight. Now, I got to research it, but I want to say I thought Lawrence Okolie was injured, but again, I'm not his doctor.
Anthony Joshua recently spoke about Francis Ngannou turning down the chance to fight Jake Paul, describing it as a questionable financial decision. Joshua explained that in boxing, massive offers like that are rare, especially for fighters who are not fully established in the sport. Passing on such an opportunity could mean losing a payday that may never come again. Former UFC star and outspoken MMA analyst Chael Sonnen agreed with Joshua's view. Sonnen said Ngannou should have accepted the fight, emphasizing that the financial reward was both significant and unique. He added that Jake Paul bouts generate exposure and earnings that fighters transition from outside boxing rarely receive.
Ngannou does not take the fight against Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua takes the fight against Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua at the press conference gets asked his opinion of Francis not taking the fight against Jake Paul. And Joshua's like, he's an idiot. He's an idiot. There is no reason for him to not take this match. I cannot be and am not mad at Francis. I can't be. Like rules would preclude me from being upset with Francis. I'm not a big Francis fan. Francis fan. I'm not a Francis supporter. So I want to hurt Francis. I want to do something to hurt him. Well, his own actions took $10 million out of his bank account, of which, by the way, could use $10 million. So I can't be mad at him. If I teased him, and by God, get in there and he go, oh my gosh, I heard Chael and I heard from all the Eagles, and what was I thinking? And Joshua's out, and this is my chance of redemption. Hey, put me in, Jake. That would then help him. That would be positive for Francis. That would create envy as well as jealousy from outside observers like me. But I will tell you, trying to break down and understand how we got to this conclusion is mind-boggling. You ever met a writer? Your whole life, have you ever met a writer? Maybe went to college for it and they're a writer. Do you want to know the hardest thing in the world that person's going to have to do to make money? Find somebody to pay them to write. It's very...
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned